Hello guys, so we're going to talk about early adulthood. The transition from high school to college for many individuals in developed countries, going from high school to college is an important aspect of the transition for adulthood. Today, college students experience more stress and are more depressed than in the past. According to a national study, 200,000 freshmen at more than 400 colleges and universities have felt some type of stress or have felt depressed. And as you can look at our graphic, it shows how the level of percentage of college students with severe psychological problems has increased for 2010. College students' mental health difficulties in the past year. So this is kind of like a chart that tells you how many times they have experienced. So it has felt things that were hopeless in 39 people like times, and then I felt overwhelmed with all I had to do, felt mentally exhausted, felt so depressed it was difficult to function, seriously contemplated suicide and attempted suicide. So you can kind of see in this graph what are some of the things that our adulthood or college students have went through. And then it goes on to physical development timeline. And for this, physical performance and development starts first, then it's health, eating and weight, regular exercise, and substance abuse. So physical performance and development. Most of us reach our physical performance before the age of 30, often between the age of 19 and 26. This peak of physical performance occurs not only for the average youth adult, but for outstanding athlete as well. Not only do we reach our peak in physical performance during early adulthood, but it also is during this age period that we begin to decline in physical performance. Health, emerging adults have more than twice than the mortality rate of adolescents. Although emerging adults have a higher death rate than adolescents, emerging adults have few chronic health problems and they have fewer colds and respiratory problems than when they were children. Most college students know what it takes to prevent illness and promote health. They don't fare very well when it comes to applying this information for themselves. So this is why some of them might get more codes than adults because they take more care of themselves. Eating and weight, it talks about obesity. The prevalence of eating in the US about 20 years of age and older increased from 19% in 1997 to 33% in 2006. The National Health and Nutrition Examination Surveys recently projected that 86% of Americans will be overweight or obese by 2030. Being overweight or obese are linked to increased risk of hypertension, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Being overweight or obese also are associated with mental health problems. It could be caused by heredity, environmental factors, and dieting. Then it talks about regular exercise. One of the main reasons that health experts want people to exercise is that it helps to prevent diseases such as heart diseases, diabetes. Many health experts recommend that young adults engage in 30 minutes or more of aerobics exercise a day, preferably every day. So that means that we need to be exercising every day because that's what's recommended. Aerobics exercise is sustained exercise as such as jogging, swimming, or cycling. Researchers have found that exercise benefits not only physical health but mental health as well. So when we're exercising, it also helps our mental health, not just our physical health. Then it talks about substance abuse. By the time individuals reach their mid-20s, many have reduced their use of alcohol and drugs. Binge drinking often increases in college, and it can take its toll on students. Pre-gaming is another thing that college students do, and is drinking alcohol before going out has become common among college students. A longitudinal study revealed that binge drinking peaks at about 21 to 22 years of age and then declines through the remainder of the 20s. Alcoholism is another issue and is a disorder that involves long-term, repeated, uncontrolled, compulsive, and excessive use of alcoholic beverages, and that impairs the drinker's health and social relationships. Sexual activities in emerging adulthood. At the beginning of emerging adulthood, age 18, survey indicates that slightly more than 60% of individuals have experienced sexual intercourse, but by the end of the emerging adulthood, age 25, most individuals have had sexual intercourse. The average age of marriage in the United States is currently 27 for males and 26 for females. Attitudes and behaviors of lesbians and gays. Many gender differences that appear in the heterosexual relations occur in the same-sex relationships. Heterosexual women, lesbians have fewer sexual partners than gay men, and lesbians have less permissive attitudes about casual sex outside primary relationship than gay men. How can lesbians and gay adapt to a world in which they are a minority? According to psychologist Laura Brown, lesbians and gays experience life as a minority in a dominant majority culture. For lesbians and gays, developing a bicultural identity creates new ways of finding themselves. So, for lesbians and gays, they're pretty much finding themselves, and they don't feel so much pressure because they're still trying to find themselves and they're still trying to see how things go. Sexual transmitted infections. Sexual transmitted infections, STIs, are diseases that are primarily contracted through sex. STIs affects about one of every 6 U.S. adults. Among the most prevalent STIs are bacterial infections such as gonorrhea, um, syphilis, and chlamydia, and STIs caused by viruses, genital herpes, genital warts, and HIV, which can lead to AIDS. Throughout 2007, 580,146 cases of AIDS in 20 to 39-year-olds have been reported in the United States. So as we can see, sexually transmitted infections are a very big issue among our youth. Forcing sexual behavior and sexual harassment. Rape is one of the things that happens and is forcible sexual intercourse with a person who does not give consent. Nearly 200,000 rapes are reported each year in the United States. So as we can see, it's a huge issue and it's a huge problem that needs to be solved. Rape is a traumatic experience for victims and those close to them. Then sexual harassment is a manifestation of power of one person over another. It takes many forms from inappropriate sexual remarks and physical contact to blatant propositions and sexual assaults. Millions of women experience sexual harassment each year in work and educational settings. Sexual harassment of men by women occur, but for far less extent than sexual harassment of women by men. Cognitive development. Piaget's view. Piaget concluded that in adolescents and adults think qualitatively in the same way. Piaget did stress that young adults are more quantitatively advanced in their thinking in the sense that they have more knowledge than adolescents. Realistic and pragmatic thinking. Some developmentalists propose that a youth adult move into the world of work, their way of thinking does change. Relative and realistic thinking. William Perry introduced this. He described changes in cognitive that take place in early adulthood. He said that adolescents often view the world in terms of polarities. Creativity. Early adulthood is a time of great creativity for some people, even if you don't believe it. Apparently, for an early study of creativity found that individuals' most creative products were generated in their 30s, and that 80% of most important creative contributions are completed by the age of 50. So that means when you reach your 30s, that's the time that you're going to be the most creative, which I think is really impressive and really crazy. Most recently, researchers have found that creativity does peak in adulthood and then declines from then. Social-emotional development in early adulthood. A stability and change from childhood to adulthood. So it's temperament. It's an individual behavior style and characteristics emotional response. Inhibitions. Individuals who have inhibited temperatures in childhood are less likely than other adults to be assertive and experience social support, and are more likely to delay entering a stable job track. Ability to control one's emotions is one longitudinal study. When 3-year-old children showed good control of their emotions and were resilient in face of stress, they were likely to continue to handle emotions effectively as adults. Another thing that to keep in mind is for those children that weren't able to handle or weren't resilient when it came to stress, when they became adults, it was really difficult for them to also um, deal with stress or to be resilient with stress. Attachment. Like temperament, attachment appears during infancy and plays an important part in social and emotional development. Secure attachment styles have positive view of relationships and find it easy to get close to others and are not overly concerned with or stressed out about their romantic relationships. These adults tend to enjoy sexuality of a committed relationships and are less likely than others to have one-night stands. Avoidant attachment styles. These individuals are hesitant about getting involved in romantic relationships and once in a relationship tend to distance themselves from their partner. Anxious attachment styles, actually, these individuals demand closeness and are less trusting and more emotional, jealous, and possessive. So pretty much, the relationship or the attachment relationship that you got as a baby or as a toddler, that influences the way that you get attached as an adult as well. Attraction, familiarities, and similarities. Social psychologists have found that familiarities is necessary condition for a close relationship to develop. And then friends and lovers tend to have similar attitudes, values, lifestyles, and physical attractiveness. For some characteristics, through opposite may attract as well. So, to build relationships, a lot of people look for familiarity and similarity. And for sometimes opposites do attract, but most of the times we want someone that's similar to us and someone that we can relate to. The face of love. So, intimacy, self disclose, and the sharing of private thoughts are hallmark of intimacy. Juggling the compassion of demands of intimacy, identity, and independence also becomes a central task of adulthood. Friendships, adulthood brings opportunity for new friendships as individuals move to new locations. And then romantic love. Some friendships evolve into romantic love. A complex intermingling of different emotions goes into romantic love, including such emotions as passion, fear, anger, sexual desires, joy, and jealousy. Affectionate love is the type of love that occurs when someone desires to have the other person near and has deep caring affection for the person. Consummate love. Love can be thought as a triangle with three main dimensions: passive, intimacy, and commitment. Oh, as single adults, over a 30-year period, a dramatic rise of the percentage of single adult has occurred from 2000 to 26 to 2006. There was a significant increase in the United States of single adults from 20 to 29 years of age. So now we have more single adults. There has been a rise of that. Advantage of being single includes having time to make decisions about one's life course, time to develop personal resources, to meet goals, freedom to make autonomous decisions and pursue one's own schedule and interests, opportunity to explore new places and try out new things, and privacy. Cohabiting adults. Cohabiting refers to living together in sexual relationships without being married. And I think cohabiting relationships are very are more popular nowadays because a lot of people or have cohabiting relationships. A number of couples views their cohabitations not as a persecutor to marriage, but as an ongoing lifestyle. These couples do not want to officially aspects of marriage. Couples who cohabit face certain problems though. Disapproval with parents and other family members can place emotional strains on the cohabiting couples. Some cohabiting couples have difficulties owning property as well. Married adults. And in recent years, marriage rates in the United States have declined. More adults are remaining single longer today, and the average duration of a marriage in the United States is currently just over 9 years. Despite the decline in marriage rate, the United States is still a marrying society. Marriage and adolescents are more likely to end in divorce than marriage and adulthood. However, researchers have not been able to pin down a specific age of or age span for getting married in adults that is most likely to result in a successful marriage. Diverse adults. Divorce has become an epidemic in the United States. The number of divorced adults rose from 1.8% of adults population in 1960 to 4.8% in 1980 to 8.6% in 2007. Although divorce has increased for all socioeconomic groups, those in some groups have higher incidence of divorce. Youthful marriage, low education level, and low income, not having religious affiliations, and having parents who have been divorced, and having a baby before marriage are factors that have associated with increase in divorce.